Well, good morning, everyone. Good afternoon, good evening. Welcome to traders around the world. Welcome to your trading morning with Z. That's me. I hope folks are doing well. Looking very much forward to trading markets here with you, navigating them, providing you my insight, answering questions. Let's get right into it, folks. A very, very good morning, good afternoon, good evening, to traders around the world. Looks like folks are ready and rearing to go. I'm looking very much forward to this, as I do every single day. All right. Well, a very good morning, Antonia, Gus, Sobransu, Christian, Gerardo, Michael K., Gary, Bob H., and to everyone that's writing in right now. Looking forward to, hey, Frankie, looking forward to, hey there, D. Hey, Jimmy. Hey, Sam. Hey, Sam. Nice to see you. I know it's been a while, hasn't it? I'm happy that you're here. That's amazing. All right, let's get going, folks. Let's get going. Everything that I do and say here is for education and insight purposes only. It's not meant as advice. I'm not a registered financial advisor or representative. You must consult yours before making any trading decisions. Trading involves risk, not just reward. Risk of loss. Trade with money you can wholly afford to lose. When I trade, it's always in line with my risk trading plan, which is unique to me and might not be suitable to you. Consult your registered financial advisor and get a risk trading plan. Whether I'm discussing past trades taken, doing live trades in front of you, coming up with plans and projections for future potential trades, whether I'm doing so with respect to a live cash account, a demo account, or a prop trading account, it's all done for education and insight purposes only. It's not meant as advice. Finally, if I poll you in the chat and I give you an average response back to the poll, the sentiment there is not necessarily indicative of the sentiment of the entire group, just those responding. I don't audit the chat, so do take that stuff as anecdotal. All right, folks, let's get right into it. I think the best way we can start off doing things is taking a look at the primary market, the couching, and then getting into the technicals. So what do we have happening on the day? Oil's come down. It's not translating into a weaker dollar yet. Precious metals are stalling out in their rise. They had an incredible rise. We had that call last Monday. We saw continued rise yesterday. So we've got indecision on precious metals. We've got an equity market that's still holding up above water lines to suggest that it wants to continue. And we're getting some benefit from oil coming down slightly on an intra-session basis. It's not down dramatically on a day-over-day basis last I looked, but it is certainly in a spot where it can help the market move. Now, it looks like the team is sending me a request to send some sort of a code or something over to folks. So I apologize for a second here. I am going to try to service everyone's needs in the live session here. So bear with me for a second while I just get that over to the team. And of course, then we can continue onwards. All right. Okay. Now that that's done. Technology is amazing. I was talking to my kid yesterday about how he's chatting with his friends on the phone. And I'm like, what apps do you use? We use them all, Dad. So they use TikTok, they use Insta, they use WhatsApp, they do group text messages, they use Discord. They're all over the place, and it's incredible. It's like why? There's different content in every different place, so that's the reason why. And they keep just sending messages to each other. So back on track over here. Look, are we going to have a big day today? It's doubtful that it's going to be a large move today. The data comes out tomorrow. That's the inflation data. Earnings is pretty much tapering off, but you're in a market where the signal backdrop is supportive of up. So let's go and zoom in on the hard right edge of the screen of the primary market here. This is that long-term channel that it's in. It's in the uppermost quadrant. That's the performer plunge quadrant. Now I'm going to zoom in a little tighter, of course, on the hard right edge over there. Let's take a look at what's happening. We're above that water line, 77.66. While we remain above 77.66, the door remains open to retest yesterday's highs and August 5th highs, and potentially the top of that very long-term channel, which is my outlook. I'm looking for the market to come up, test the top of that channel, and then potentially start a move back down again. So are we up bigly on the day? No, it's up just shy of 0.1%. Let's go look at this in terms of the NASDAQ. So here's the NASDAQ in the same long-term channel. Let me just pinch it so you can see that. It's the same long-term channel. Let's zoom into the hard right edge on the NQ. The NASDAQ is teeter-tottering around a level that it needs to really sustain above. The number is 29,835, very similar to yesterday. We're sitting at 830 right now. So while we are trying to get back up above 29,835, keep in mind that we're not seeing any incredible performance, right? We're dealing with a day that's up about a fifth of a percent. It's not a magical moment, if you will. Here's what it looks like in a little bit more detail. There you go. There's that volume profile node sitting right in and around the 29,835 area. Above there, the door remains open for us to retest yesterday's intercession highs, August 5th intercession highs, or higher. Now, the or higher part is if the NASDAQ is participating in the rise, it can be on its journey up to the top of that 2 standard deviation channel that goes back to October of 2022. That's in the 30,500s. So the signal backdrop is positive. We're not really seeing anything great coming out of the euro in terms of it rising. It's pretty much unch at this moment in time. So no headwind, no tailwind at this moment. It is coming up off of its low, so you could argue that there may be a little tailwind coming in. Crypto is actually starting to move. It's very modest, but it's holding a major support area. So that's a risk-on factor as well. But more importantly, let's go take a look at oil. So here's the daily chart of oil, and you can see a bearish reversal bar, right? It's down actually right now about 0.4%. It's a little bit more dramatic when you look at it on an intraday basis. So we'll break that daily bar into 5-minute increments. And what do we see when we do that? The uptrend channel that oil's been in is broken. So you could draw, actually the channel broke a little while back. So if I actually just change it from not letting it follow price and move it back to the break point, you'll get a sense of what I'm talking about here. So that's where the channel ended up breaking, right? It's that big red bar that ended up we sliced right through it. And now we're trying to actually make lower lows and come down a little lower below a level that would be important to get down below. It's about $81.34. It's a weekly pivot level. It's a Fibbo pivot level. Below there, that would be the next tailwind for the market, the next real catalyst from a intra-market relationship basis. So as far as I'm concerned right now, I do have a geopolitical positive. I do have both of the major equity indices holding, at a level or slightly above a level that keeps the door open for a rise. The currency backdrop is not negative. Crypto is slightly positive. So if I take that entire set of ingredients and throw it into the cauldron and mix it all up, what does that look like then for the market move from here? Well, it's probably a positive. But let's go and actually look at the technicals together right now. Now, I was doing a little trading in the pre-market, not a whole bunch today. Yesterday, I ended up fairly good. I ended up quite up, actually, a little higher than in the videos that I was sharing with you. I don't know if I took a screenshot of it or not, but I can share it with you if I can find it. Yeah, I think I found it. Yeah, there it is. So that's yesterday. So yesterday, I ended up fairly good. About $4,400 across, over a half dozen accounts traded individually, not with the trade copier. So it did fairly well in yesterday's market. And you saw a bunch of that, especially a little boo-boo in the middle of the day that I overturned for those who are with me on Wealth Charts in the middle of the day. And so far today, up about $581 and change in the pre-market. I want to build on that, of course, but I want to take choiceful trades. And the part of the session that we're in right now is the pre-market briefing, and I've given you an idea that the cocktail that we're kind of being served up this morning is more risk on than risk off. So that is supportive to up. If the technical signals marry that, well, we should be looking for long side trades, right? Well, let's go in and refine that. So I'm going to zoom in on the daily chart for the NASDAQ at this stage. The NASDAQ E-minis is what you're seeing on screen right now. And what is it telling us at this stage? It's telling us that we are in a buy signal state, champion trend. There's your buy zone plaque. There's your trail line. It's tilted up. This is a daily chart, so it has an impact more so on a week or two out into the future, not just in right now, but it's a good backdrop. And we're above the MSR channel. We're above the speed lines. Is triple S also in a buy signal state? The answer is no, but we are seeing the triple S line trying to nudge into the upper half of its channel. The Spike 2.0 impulse to buy is also fairly strong. So these are good things in the backdrop that we're dealing with. Is the 4-hour chart echoing this, amplifying this? to a degree amplifying this, and a 4-hour chart tends to cast its signal out 3 to 5 days. So we're above the speed lines, triple S is in a buy, impulse to buy is picking up. So these are all good things. And of course, we still need to see price action sustain above 29,835. Let's go from there to the hourly chart, which affects the next 3 to 6 hours. So the hourly chart's where we've got a little issue, right? We've got the MSR channel in magenta. What does that mean? Technical damage. So technical signals might not be as effective. Now, as I zoom in a little bit over here, you can see that right now we're actually below the top lip of the MSR channel, which, by the way, is sitting at roughly 29,835. So it is that line that we need to get above and stay above. And on the hourly chart, it's not a perfect set of signals. You've got the champion trend indicator sitting up here with a sell zone. The trail line's flat. It's not tilted down. So that's a boundary. It's sitting at around 29,935. So think 29,835. If we can stay above there, the next challenge is 100 points higher. Okay. And if we open the door above there, well, then we can actually see the throttle really open up and things start to rip and run. I'm not expecting a very expansive day today. I think the market's going to be in wait for another positive catalyst. You know, oil yesterday was up 5.25%, and the market barely felt a scratch, right? Precious metals continued up despite the dollar strengthening, euro weakening. So far in today's trade, with oil coming back down, the market is saying, okay, you know, take from Peter to pay Paul, or, you know, just go from one side of the field to the other. Markets need another catalyst on top of geopolitics, or they need a much more significant geopolitical positive to really wrap their arms around and run. Now, I think the signaled state that we're in promotes more longs. You can see the hourly charts getting a little perkier right now. Let's actually make this more real by looking at it on a shorter time frame. So what are the time frames? What is the shorter time frame telling us right now? Bear with me for a moment while I just get rid of some of the apps in the background over here. So what are the shorter term timeframes telling me? Well, right now, right into the open, a couple of minutes before the open, the 5-minute chart's in a buy signal state. You know, triple S is not that overcooked. We've been up here for a while, though. The 1-minute chart's trying to convert into a buy signal state. The impulse to buy is pretty good. We're trying to get out of a champion trend sell zone. So this is all good. Is this echoed or supported or led by the S&Ps? The Nasdaq's in the lead very modestly. We saw that already on a day-over-day percentage change basis. So it is still the Nasdaq that is quote unquote large in charge, but it's not that large today, right? We're moving up like 1/5% to 1/3% in that range. So it's not a major move as of yet. Nonetheless, let's go take a quick look-see at how the ES is set up right before the open here. We've got a minute before the open. So there's your ES chart. Now I've just put all the time frames side by side here. Your daily chart's in a buy signal state, 4-hour chart's in a buy signal state, and most importantly, the hourly chart is in a buy signal state with a particular pattern. Let's zoom in on that pattern. It's called the pre-trade conditioning pattern. That's not perfect, but here it is. You've got one down signal, separation of 1 bar, one up signal, 1, 2, 3, 4 5 bars, and then a down signal. Then you've got 3 separation bars and an up signal. We're left with an up signal. We need a minimum of 3 triangles. We're left with an up. Then we're looking for price action above the top of the MSR channel. 1 green bar with the double green dots. That happened on the 7 a.m. Eastern time bar. Okay, we didn't really go much further on the 8 a.m. Eastern time bar, but we're trying to pick it back up on this bar. The hourly chart tends to cast its signal out 3 to 6 hours into the future. And we've got the PTC pattern here from the Triple S toolkit. So I like what I'm seeing. I know we're coming into known resistance, so I'm not going to be cavalier about this. And I want to watch the open very carefully before I make any decisions. So here's the first bar on the open for the NASDAQ, and it's a sell bar. Go figure. Oil's still coming down. Oil's still coming down. It's not precipitously falling at this moment, but the first bar that I'm seeing so far is a sell bar on the NQ. So I'm not in any trades at this moment in time. I'm waiting patiently to see if I can get something good shortly after the first bar kind of settles in. First 1-minute bar settles in. And I'm questioning whether or not this move is dramatic enough, because we're coming down through the center of the hourly charts channel on the NQ, which is a problem. The ES is still holding up, but the NQ is getting dumped hard. So at this stage, I'm not gonna, I'm not gonna make up my mind, but it's hard to argue with, the size of the move that we've had from about 850, 840, all the way down to 770. And it's continuing at this stage. Now we know right out of the gates, things can be a little volatile. Orders need to settle. But at this stage, can I take on something even small and see if I can get something out of it? I think the risks are a little high to just jump in right now, but we are dropping down to the bottom of the 1 hour chart's MSR channel, which should be support. We perforated it. The ES is coming down as well. It's at 77.83. Now we need to get above 77.96 in order to really get into our launch zone on the S&P E-minis. So it's not there. The ES is weakened a little bit. I'm starting to see that blue dot appear on the 1 hour chart bar. And now I'm getting a bit of a down triangle coming in. So that's not great, right? That's not great. We might be in a PTC pattern that ends up breaking to the downside. So as of right now, the market is stressed right out of the gates. We're seeing more distribution, more supply come into play. But is it fundamentally strong selling? It doesn't make sense. The factors that I'm seeing, that can support the market are still in place. Now, oil has not jumped back up to make a higher high versus the last local high. It's at 81.65. It needs to come down another 30 pennies for another, signal, if you will. So I'm not seeing anything traumatic from oil. I'm not seeing anything traumatic from spreads or currencies. And the technicals right now, the hourly chart, bottom of the NQ's MSR channel has been perforated and could be broken. This could be damaging. Getting below 29,750 opens the door for us to come down to the 700 marker, which if you were in sessions yesterday, or maybe I said this earlier, it's an inflection zone, right? That area is an inflection zone. We've come down to it yesterday a couple of times back here, left-hand side of your screen. If we're going to come down to 700 again today, we're probably going to break it. So despite the positive backdrop that I'm seeing, this is somewhat concerning. Now, the 1 minute chart's slowing down in its decline, which, can spell out opportunity, and we can get a rip up here against the move. Dare I try a long side trade? Look, if we come back up above 780, I might. If we sustain below 750, we're headed down to, below 700 likely, and it could become a little more traumatic of a morning than I thought it would be. So I'm going to keep my mind open on either side right now. I'm not in any trades right now. I'm still waiting for a choiceful moment. We are seeing, some downside risks still play out. We saw a slightly lower low on this bar. Slightly is not significant. We are coming into the lower 700s. My bet is that this is going to rip up. That's my bet. But I'm not actually trading it, right? I want to actually trade it if we start to see that rip up. If we come up above the slow speed line from 760, we could rip all the way up to 825, and that could be a nice little trade. So are we oversold enough out of the gates? Are the sell orders from the armchair athletes ahead of the market all cleared? I don't know that yet. I do know that the ES found itself in support of the center of its 1 hour chart MSR channel. It's sitting at 77.80. It's well above our line in the sand for the week, which is sitting at 77.61. So, at a certain point of this market morning move, we've only had about 5 minutes, just shy of 5 minutes play out. I'd expect us to start coming back up, or we fall off a cliff here. It really is a binary outcome from my perspective, because I'm not seeing the type of selling that would be considered structural. I'm seeing it slow down. I'm seeing a reversal pattern start to set in. I'm going to be taking on a long. It's going to be a high risk long if I take it on above the slow speed line on that 1 minute chart. And again, I'd grade it as a C- grade trade if I take it. But the short seems to still want to work. For those that are in it, you can't deny we are coming down to 700 again, and this is a problem. We can break it at this time. Now, the impulse to sell has come into a strong formation on that 5 minute chart, and I feel like I'm going to be shorting in the hole over here. But if we come down to 700, which we just did, and perforate it, have a little bounce back up, I'm going to have to go with the flow and look for shorts or abstain until I'm, comfortable with the actual decision. And at this moment in time, it's a little stressful. We are coming down to the 700 marker, which is a dangerous area. This is the area that we had those 2 hourly bars in yesterday in the evening. If we come down again, we can break it. And I'm trying a short right now. I feel like I'm shorting in the hole. It's profit positive. If it turns green, that bar, I want to bug out and I want to start telling you, hey, I think we're going to rip back up, but I don't have that in signaled format. So first trade didn't work out. That's okay. I contained my risk. It was like a $17 loss, not a big deal. Do want to see profit positivity. And I think that we're going to get the opportunity to rip up. This is a support area, but it's become very fragile. We've come down to it several times now, and it can break. If we go above 730, I'm going to try a long. So I'm going to wait patiently right now to see how this works itself out. For those who got the short out of the gates, amazing, amazing, and amazing. So good on you. You can hear what I'm doing right now. I'm looking for a reversal that rips us back up and takes us back up into the territory where we start to stabilize and marry with the macro environment, which is more risk on. Okay, so here we go. I'm trying it with one contract. It's a very high risk trade. I'm going to grade it C-, but is the supply, the distribution that had to puke itself out of the gates done, or is this structural selling? We're going to find out, right? So I'm just testing the waters right now. It's a very small trade, obviously. I'd like to be able to build it actually. And it's in profit positive territory. I'm not taking profit as of yet. It's just a tester trade to see if this actually is supply has ended. And we are now going to see covering of bearish positions and a rip back up. Now, I'm not seeing enough of it. If we start coming down below roughly 700, I'm going to have to get out of the trade and reconsider. Right? We are coming back down right now to the 700-ish marker. We're not below it yet. My fingers are over the trigger to flatten out this trade. And again, I'm doing it with a micro for a reason, right? I'm just testing the waters at this stage. And if we come down and break that positive momentum shift, we get another leg down. So I have to get out of the way on this trade. There's no question about it. We broke the positive momentum shift. Is the selling coming in force right now? This is negative. There's no question. We had the chance to get off the mat. Nope, that didn't happen. If we have another chance to get off the mat, I'd like to see the fast spike on the 5-minute chart above the slow spike at least. So that would mean the fast spike on the 1-minute chart would have to shoot up to the top of the channel. The triple S line itself would have to point up towards the bottom of the channel. And these things can still happen. Speed lines are compressing. We could get across, or we could just simply fall off the edge of the cliff here. And below 700, the target would be 500. Okay, so just letting you know that. I don't want to fight it. And I can't really argue with what I'm seeing right now. So I'm going to try one more entry short. If it doesn't work right away, I'm going to probably get out of the way. So first few seconds have gone by. It's not working right away. I'm getting out of the way. So my trader's instinct is telling me that this is not indicative of structural selling. But I can't argue with the fact that on the ES now, the 1-hour chart's in a tentative sell signal state. We're still not below the bottom of the MSR channel on the S&P E-minis. Oil has not come up above a resistive structure. The macro factors that are positive are still in play, right? So I'm taking a very low grade, C- grade trade again on the basis that this is not structural selling, that this market has a better than fair chance to rebound back up. I am seeing some profit positivity at this stage. There you go. And kicking myself that I didn't take a bigger trade. 17 seconds, it's profit positive. I decided to take some profit to P&L manage there. If I want to take on more over here, remember, these are low grade trades. This is a bunch of bearish positions that got put on and got put on again over here and over here that are not working, that are coming off the table. This is not buying. Okay, this is not buying. If we want to consider, the word actual buying coming in, we'd have to be somewhere in the upper 700s above the sell zone top on the 1 minute chart, I think we're going to make it. So what you've heard from me is the cocktail that we've been served up this morning, the macro cocktail down to micro, including the signaling we had pre-market, is more supportive of up. But what have we seen out of the gates? A nasty 150-point drop. Yeah, maybe almost 200-point, 170-point drop roughly. And yes, I'm looking at it and I'm going, oh, with hindsight, sure, I should have caught some of it, but shoulda, woulda, coulda doesn't matter, right? I'm looking for what the bigger picture is and how I'm going to play that bigger picture here. And I think it's going to be a rise. Now, again, I've taken on a C- grade trade. It's high risk. It's low quality. And at this stage, I'm still seeing I'm seeing the red dots appear on the spike 2.0 on the 1 minute chart, but the trade went profit positive. If it's going to struggle bust its way up, great. If the bar goes red, I'm going to have to get myself the heck out of this position. But you can see what I'm doing right now. I'm doing it in earnest in front of you. I'm giving you the live stream of logic. Position's been enforced for about 30 seconds and I'm taking some profit. It's a very risky position. Now, are we coming back up? Yep. Have we come back up about halfway? Pretty much. I'd like to see action above 775 before I take on another long side trade. If it's comfortable at that moment and I see the better odds of success at that moment. And this is a good time to have a bunch of folks out there going, hey, let me know which way you think this is going to go. Do you think we're going to break down today or are we going to bounce back up? So lucky number 7 in the chat if you think we're going to break down. If you think we're going to bounce back up, type in the number 6. Number 7 for breakdown, number 6 for up. And I'm not trying to foreshadow anything by the choice of the number. I just threw that out there. All right, we are in a sell signal state. There's no question about that. If you think we're going to break down, type in the number 7. If you think we're going to reverse back up, type in the number 6. And as the votes start to settle down, of course, I will give you my what the consensus looks like here. Oh, wow. Okay, that's interesting. It's about 85-15 split, leaning to the number 6 that we're going to bounce back up. And Angal, you're saying it's going to, the 1 hour chart right now, this is the hard part, right there. That's the hard part right there. We're below the bottom of the MSR channel on the hourly chart, but oil's coming back down again, folks. I just want these red dots to go away. There we go. Okay, I want to see that go away, and then I want to see the green bar pop up. And I think I'm going to be patient for the next trade and see if I can get something above 29,775, 780. This is way too risky here. If the short wants to come back into force over here, it is legal, quote unquote. Technically, we're below the hourly chart's MSR channel bottom. We need to see, for me to short it again, probably closer to 700, 710 or lower. And then I could consider the short. Because if you look at what's on screen with sober lens, Triple S is in a sell, Champion Trend is in a sell, Champion Cross is in a sell, Wealth Signal is in a sell, Impulse to Sell is pretty darn good. I don't want to fight that. We're coming down to 710. And if we're going to whoosh here, I don't like these mid-channel pivots. It's not my style, but I might try a short. We've got off the mat with the Spike 2.0 tool, but we did come back down again exactly as the tools on wealth charts have told us. The Triple S indicator did not get a hold of the bottom of its 4-quadrant channel on a 1 minute chart yet. So I'm caught in this spot right now where I'm guessing many are caught, where you're sitting there going, okay, do we have the credentials for a breakdown? Technically, on the surface of price, hourly chart down to the 1 minute chart, the signals are down. We know that. Okay. The macro backdrop, oil's actually coming down. It's at 81.48. It's getting very close to that support structure, that Fibbo pivot line, where if it breaks below it, it should be a positive for the market. Should be. Well, yesterday, we should have had a much bigger negative for the market, right? With oil rising 5.25%. We didn't see that either. So it did certainly add, throw a wet blanket over the action. Okay, here we're coming down to 700, and I cannot deny that. The slow spike is below its signal line. I'm going to try a short right now. If it doesn't work very quickly and I'm out of the money, very quickly, I'm going to have to get out of the way. So my finger's on the trigger to get out, but I'm in the short. aligned with signals, and I'm going to take the profit while I've got it. If we come down below the low, I'll reshort it again. I'll do it with a couple of contracts this time. Fingers on the trigger to hit that sell button, and I'm in it. And there it is, profit positivity. I'm only in the trade for a couple of seconds, but it's working, it's working, it's working. Let's see if I can get to the 10-second mark and still have some profit here. I do. I'm taking my profit. Okay, so like I said, I'm not going to fight it. Where are we going now that 700 has been so damaged? 500, 29,500 would be the marker. I'm waiting for one more shoe to drop. And that next shoe to drop would be the ES coming down and sustaining below its hourly chart MSR channel bottom. It still doesn't take us below the line in the sand for the week, which is at 77.61. And there's a volume point of control line at 77.66.5. So we're above both of those numbers right now. Could the ES act as a ballast, as an offset? Can it mop up the blood in the street for the NQ? That's the worry with the short. Okay, so if I want to short again, I need the NASDAQ to punch and punch right down through that low, and I will try the trade again. Aligned with signals, right? It would be a B+ grade trade. It wouldn't be in the A category because I don't have all markets doing the same sort of thing in the same position, but it would be a B+ graded trade aligned on the 5-minute and the 1 hour in terms of down signal. Oil is coming down below 81.34. It's at 81.34 right now. Okay, that should be important enough to support the market, but it's not. So there's some other selling that is dominating the market over here. I'm going to try another entry short right here, right now. It went profit positive right away, which is good. It's not staying profit positive. And I'm worried about a rip up. So I've got my finger on the trigger to flatten this thing out. If it decides to rip up, we get above 55. This trade is no longer alive. No longer alive. Not interested in staying. So we're in a sell signal state. We've got a lower low. We don't have a divergence. Triple S came down and made a lower low. Oil, is it going to come in and rescue things? I don't know. I see a couple of folks went in there and said, Mario and Jim G said, go ask Julian. He had a late night last night, so he's still fast asleep. But today is the day that he transitions back over to his mom's, so I'm going to miss him for a week. But we talk every day. So let's see where this wants to go. My trader's intuition is telling me that the force with which we've come down is significant and can break things. Why is it slowing down? There's a positive divergence that's locked in. Okay, it's not locked in. It flashed on. It's not locked in yet. The math has to work. So we're waiting to see if it stays locked in. If not, back to shorting I go. Oh, just a dad, Ollie. Just a dad, right? Like any other dad out there. But the magical times when I was a teenager, even though I was quote unquote slave labor for my family businesses, I'm just being facetious, of course. It was a privilege to be able to work in family businesses and have that discipline, it really drilled into me, that work ethic. I think I want to try a very high risk long. I'm like itching to do so. So I'm going to back off, right? When that itch becomes too big, I'm not seeing things as clearly. So you can actually see my hands are here. But what I was saying was during the summer times, I remember that they were the best times, right? Especially in between school, although he likes learning. So, that's unique. I'm itching to take this trade. I think we're going to have a rip back up. I think the rip back up has legs to actually heal the market. But again, there's no evidentiary based proof. There's nothing here yet that tells me that back up we can go. We left the gravity well of 700. So what I was saying about Julian there is, I want to make sure that, he gets, exponentially more of those magical moments during summertime, especially at this age, like 14, 15. He's 14 now. He's going to be turning 15 in December. But if he gets up, we'll see if I can bring him back on camera like I did yesterday. And yes, we will ask him. We will ask him. So that's a good point, Joseph. We do have home sales data. It's not the heaviest hitting data, right? The existing home sales data is not the heaviest hitting data. The data this week that matters is on Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, right? Tomorrow, we end up getting the consumer price index, then the PPI, the producer price index on Thursday, then the retail sales data on Friday. Those are the top three data-wise on the week. So look, the room, when I asked the question, right? When I asked the question earlier, the room, and I said, hey, put a number 7 if you think this market's going to break down, put a number 6 if you think it's going to reverse back up. It was an 85-15 split, which is pretty skewed, right? We didn't get to the 90-10, but we got to an 85-15 split favoring a reversal back up. So we've got to question ourselves, right? Am I seeing something that is biasing me? Well, obviously not. I took shorts, right? I'm keeping myself away from trying to take on a long. The signals are still short. If we come down and break this positive divergence at 635, I'm going to go short. So I'm not going to be biased about that. But again, it doesn't change the fact of the matter that the macro conditions are a little more favorable for up. It doesn't change those facts. And I'm not seeing those facts change in front of me right now either, right? Oil sitting at 81 bucks and 40 pennies. It's already breached 81.34. So I have to keep in mind that, we've got a macro backdrop that's fairly good. We had signaling that was much better. Is that itch going to be scratched right now? It probably will be. I'm trying it. One contract, micro only. If it doesn't continue directly, I get out of the way. It's not continuing directly, I'm going to get out of the way. Simple as that. If we come back down and we break down below the positive divergence at 635, I'm going to go short. And again, I'm trading this down towards the 500 area if I'm shorting, trading it back up to 835 if I'm longing. That's such a good point, Frank. He's like a year and a third away from, a year and a half roughly away from getting his, I guess, the learner's permit license. They've changed the rules so dramatically here. I don't even know what he needs to go through. But I think there's like a probationary period after you get your first, your learner's permit license. And then, after he gets it, you're right. I probably will rarely see him. The way that I was able to spend so much time with my father was in the businesses that he built that then I started to build on, and I had to work with him every day, for good or for bad. And, on the whole, it was a very, very good thing that I was able to be, they're all unfortunately gone now. They've been gone for a while, mom and dad, but I got to spend probably an extraordinarily large amount of time relative to other folks with my parents. Okay, I want to see if this is going to break down. If it's going to break down, I'm going to take that short. If it's going to rip right back up, we do have a positive momentum shift. We do have a positive divergence. It is not accelerating down. I'm sitting at 81.60. Isn't that crazy, Rodney? Exactly. I'm going to have him driving me around. That's how I'll have my hooks into him, Frank. But that too is probably going to be a challenge, I'm guessing. You're right about that, Ollie. Low, higher low. This is potentially another higher low. I'm going to raise my contract basket size because I'm willing to short with a little bit more here below the low. I'm willing to take a high risk long on an oversold condition basis. as well, but it is going to be a C- grade trade. It's the worst grade you can give, right? Because I'm going against the existing signal set, but there is a moment where a turn in the signal set happens. Do I need to be the one that catches it? No. Are we together at this time? Yes. Do I want to try to make a great trade? Of course I do. So 9:56 is where we're at. And as Joseph was mentioning, of course, there's data out at 10 a.m. Data is data, right? Even if it's not heavy hitting data, it's still data and it can muck with the market move. So we got to be aware of that. So I'm going to see if I can do anything before that or not. Little perkiness is happening. I'm trying a little entry here. Still not seeing any success on it. Want to see if we get a little rip up now. Fingers on the trigger to get the heck out of the way if this does not work. It's trying, it's trying. You know, this is the beginning of a potential turn or a fall off the cliff. And it's not working. If the bar starts to keep compressing, I have to get out of the way. There's no point. If it tries to pop up again above, effectively here, right where it is right now, above 705 points, I'm going to try it again. But I'm going to have to get out of the way before 10 a.m. See if that bar goes green. I'm going to try it again. It went green. I tried it again. It went profit positive pretty much right away, but it's not staying that way. Fingers on the trigger to get out because this can get slammed right back down, folks. It's a C- grade trade. It's the lowest grade I can give. It's not an ideal situation. It's maybe the beginning of a turn back up or a slam that can be very nasty all the way back down. And I'm kind of toggling flat. It's getting more red on me here. I don't like what I'm seeing. Fingers on the trigger to get out. Oh, I'm still forcing myself to try to stay in it. Oversold bounce turns into a rip up. Macro factors are supportive. Okay, there's a little narrative there, but I'm not seeing quite enough. Let's see if we get that rip on this bar. If it goes red, I'm going to have to get out of the way. Still holding on to green. It's struggling, struggle busting its way. Back to red, I'm out. Too much risk. It can just fall off a cliff here. It's a very risky trade to begin with. I'll do it with a little less size this time if it comes up above 711, 712, 715, somewhere in that area. But I'm equally amenable to short it now starting in the 660s, low 660s. Look, it's trying to firm up. And the hard part about this is if the ship is trying to turn, you're going to be obviously looking at the leading or the bleeding edge. It's still bleeding. It's not leading yet. Right? We do have a series of higher lows, as Ollie was mentioning, which is good. And like I said, in the 700 and teens, I'll try it again. But again, I'm going to tell you it's a C- grade trade. There's going to be better trading opportunities. I'm forcing myself to force fit myself into a position. We just hit 710. And we're getting very close to the top of the hour, the next hour, end of this hour. So it's probably going to preclude me from taking it. And this is probably where it's going to rip up, which, yeah, again, you cannot let that build negative residue or plaque. There's still 30 seconds to go. I'm going to see if I can clip just a small smidge of it and see if I can get some profit positivity. There we go. See if I can get a little bit more out of this. And I'm out at the 10-second mark with some profit. You'll let the hour change, and then I'm going to move into the next trade. And again, I'm not biased to the long side. I've just got a backdrop that's supportive. We did have a positive divergence, positive momentum shift, another one. We're coming up above the 1-minute chart MSR channel. Okay, hours changed. Where's the next long? 750. Where's the next short? As early as 680. Depending on acceleration, that could be comfortable. 680 could be the number that would put us below the speed lines on the 5-minute chart. But I'm sitting back going, hey, the retrace back up is somewhat significant. It's not quite enough yet to be meaningful. I'll just zoom in a little tighter here. You break the sell structures on the 1-minute chart, you open up the door for a run up into the 5-minute charts channel. So here we go. Here we grow again. Fingers on the trigger, buttons depressed. I haven't unclenched it, perforate it. Okay, I'm in on the perforation. It can back off slightly over here, come down and eat into about half its range and then continue. So I have to accept that risk if I want to be in the trade. Could it just continue to rip up? It could. Okay, but I have to be prepared on either side here. Yeah, so this is it coming back down into half its range. It could test the top of the 1 minute chart MSR channel and then go. But if it wants to break out and continue here, I might be able to get something out of it. My finger's on the trigger to get out. I don't want too much red in this account, of course. So I'm going to risk manage myself out if it doesn't work. See if that bar can grow. It's so skittish, right? We're dealing with a pretty nasty backdrop here, but there's some profit positivity. Let's see if we get a little bit more. All right, I'm taking some profit. All right, I'm just taking pieces along the ride. Where's the next entry? It could be directly above the high, or one could wait for 775. I'm waiting for 775. 775 is effectively us trying to then grab a hold of the bottom of the 5 minute charts MSR channel, which is still putting us in C- grade trading, right? Up front, I'm going to tell you, these are low quality trades. And crude is, well, it's up like 30 pennies, right? Sitting at 81.70, Jimmy, but you're right, it is. I've actually seen the correlation go inverse. It's really weird, right? Oil went up while the market was going up. But again, these are very micro correlations that, to even use the word correlation is a little out there. It's just coincident, let's just say for now. Okay, are we going to get going or what? Isn't that interesting, Jimmy, how that happens? And lots of weird things happen inside the trading day because you're dealing with, people trying to position in all sorts of manners, right? Okay, I got to get this account nicely in the green. I'm behind by about 70 bucks or so, I think. So I need to grow. And look, could we have a little pull back to pull the slingshot back a little bit and then shoot? Maybe. I'm fine trying to take the trade above the high at this stage. I'm going to try it above the high. I'm not going to wait for 775. Again, it's a C- grade trade, the lowest grade you can give. And I'm not in it, obviously. Indecision. Okay, here we go. I'm trying it right now. I'm in. I saw profit positivity instantaneously, which is a good sign. Usually my trades work out that way. Still at the 6 second, 8 second mark. Let's see if we get some profit positivity. Oh, a whopping cup of coffee. Okay. Above the high of the last closed bar. No, I'm going to wait for 775. So I'll just put my crosshairs there. If it's going to keep going, 775, we're grabbing a hold of the 5 minute charts MSR channel. And for those of you that are looking at the very left-hand side of the screen, you'll see that the 1 hour charts grabbed a hold of its MSR channel again, right? We're in the bottom half. Okay, here we go, 69. Let's see if we can get 70. The number I think is at 72, which we probably just tagged. But I'm going to give it a couple more points above there. We've got a stark warning on the 5 minute chart that this up move is going to come back down, at least partially. Look at the spike 2.0 tool on the bottom of the 5 minute chart, middle chart. You got the red dot on that lowest sub chart. I want that red dot to be gone, and I need price above 775 to support a long. Otherwise, no. Oh, Brian B., thank you. It just makes me normal, I guess. It just makes me human. How's that answer back to you? It might be a confounding answer, but that would be the answer. Meaning I scratched the itch, right? I let you know that it's going to be hard. Sultan, that's amazing. I'm happy to hear that. Okay, let's see if we want to get going here. It's struggling. And it's not able to take over. But we're in a bounce. We've retraced half the range. Here we grow. Let's see if we can get above 75. This looks promising. We just hit it. And I think we should breach it now, but we're not. We need to see it. Fingers on the trigger, buttons depressed, in the trade, executed a little later. Oh, actually, not too far off of 775. It went profit positive right away. Let's see if it can stay that way. And we get some continuation up because we are fighting still. You get above 790, you're cooking with a little bit more gas. You get above 800, you're cooking with a lot of gas. You get above 835, you got some rocket fuel. I'm not seeing it carry forward enough, and I don't want red. I want green trades. So I'm getting closer and closer to wanting to take my trade off the table with a scratch or a very minimal profit. But so I've got my finger on the trigger to flatten it. The button's depressed, but I have not executed the unclench. I'm going to see if I can get some more out of this retrace. If not, I go away and I try again. You know what? There's some profit right there. Let's see if we can get it to 88. No. I want to see if we can get back up into the 80s, upper 80s, and it doesn't look like it wants to, but yeah, it doesn't look like it wants to. Yeah, that's a little troublesome, but it held the test of the fast speed line on the 1 minute chart. I'm still holding the trade begrudgingly. And I don't like what I'm seeing. I've been in it for 1 minute and 20 seconds, roughly. We are facing resistance right here with a tentative triple S buy coming back into play on the 1 hour chart, which is pretty cool. But we still have a lot of resistive structures to break through here. Get above 800, 835. You've got a lot cleaner of a landscape to trade on the long side. I'll give this particular trade that we're on, I'll give it a C, not a C minus. Okay, so that looks pretty good. Let's see if we can keep going here. I want to see if I can get something more out of this. If it flips back to red real quick, I'm going to get out. I'm out. I'm taking my profit. So now, again, for folks who are trading this retrace back up, it's fragile. Okay, it's not in the bag. We've got many levels of resistance to get through. PTC pattern is there. You're absolutely right, Emma. Not only on the ES, but it's also on the NQ. Right? We've got the up, the down, the up, and we've got 2 bars sequentially rising. The ES is on the opposite side potentially, right? That's the worry. This is what Emma's talking about. So you've got the 3 triangles. We got 4 in this case. We're left with a down. If we have 1 bar below the channel down over here with the double red dots, the ES is going to be clearly the dragger. We've also got on the 5 minute chart the PTC pattern potentially forming. We've got 1, 2, tentatively the 3rd. It's a down, unfortunately. But look, I think we're in a retrace. I don't think the retrace is necessarily done, but it's not a great trading environment. We get above 800. I start to get a little bit more interested in larger size and probably longer duration, holding on to longs. This can also be the area where it just faces resistance of the champion trend sell zone on the 5 minute chart, bottom of the MSR channel, and submerges again. Now, shorts will become relevant again as early as 740. We're at 775. I've already traded this area. I'm not coming back in over here. Above 790 or 800, I can consider it again. The fact that, Emma, we've got the ES on a 1 minute chart in a PTC pattern that might be bearish, and then we've got a bullish PTC pattern on the NASDAQ, that just adds, it confounds it's not a straight line anymore. But here we grow. Let's see if we can get a pop up. I'm going to probably wait for 96 or 800. Probably. I may choose to take it before then. I'm hovering over the buy button. I'm waiting. Oil's back up. Jimmy, you're spot on, man. 82.02. It did dip below 81.34 and then rip back up, but it's not yet breaking from the downward move pattern that it's in, right? We'd have to come up above 82.75, but it is certainly turned up. That is for sure. It's coming into a ceiling of resistance. That's a volume point of control line of resistance around 82 and a nickel. It's so far holding under there, but it's clearly not the only factor at work here, right? Now it's above 82 and a nickel, or 82. Yeah, it's at 82 and a nickel right now. Maybe we're going to start seeing more normal correlation. But the causation of the market dump out of the gates was probably AI NQ related more than geopolitical related. And the question mark is it being bought back up? Is it good enough? And I don't think it's good enough yet, right? We've retraced a good chunk. You can see that on the hourly bar. We've retraced a great chunk of the move. We're well above the halfway of the range of the 9 a.m. hourly bar, of the total range. Getting above the center of the body is the ticket. So the center of the body is somewhere around 790, 800. And above there, then we've got some game for an upside move. Otherwise, we should be considering, okay, well, if this is going to fall apart, where's the better shorting moment? Now, technically, I'd like to see it come down below the slow speed line on the 5-minute chart to really know that we're going to make another move back down towards the lows. And I'd like to see it abruptly come down there. That's not that far away. It's 40 points away. For the NQ, that's, a millisecond. But again, I have to give some credence to the idea here that we're building a base. We've retraced more than half of the range of the last hourly bar. We're trying to get our footing again. Macro factors are still more so positive for risk on than a risk off at a bearish reversal. I want to check out my day trade 2 template. Just take a look at where we are on VWAP cones and the like. So I'm plopping that up on another screen. That might cause a little glitch in the feed. So just bear with me on that. Yeah, the average true range tool, ATR students, you would have seen that in your PDF, right? The ATR line has crossed above its signal line, introducing the potential for more downside risk. Tick tool is not really that positive. Placement on the VWAP cones is encouraging on the Qs. We're back. We're close to the uptrend zone. We're not quite where I'd want to be. Actually, no, my error. My data was may have been stale there, so I'm just refreshing it. Yeah, that template needs to be wholesale refreshed. So you're going to see a little glitch in the feed. I'm refreshing a template on another screen. And so far, this is just hanging out, right? It's not really telling me anything that's very negative. It's not telling me that we're ready to grow again. Again, for me, I think the short makes more sense earliest below the bottom of the hourly chart's MSR channel. Call that 740. Slow speed line is, pretty much in the same area of the 5-minute chart. So call it 735. Would be the short starts to become more interesting. Now, we're above VWAPs on the day for the SPY and the Qs. We're in the uptrend zone for the Russell. The tick tool, now that I'm looking at it with the refresh template, is not in bad shape for the everything else market to go up. We're above month-to-date VWAPs. So again, I stand by the comments that I made earlier this morning. The macro configuration is a little bit more supportive to up. It's not dramatic, but it's a little bit more supportive to up. And what I'm seeing internally right now, echoes that. I'll just share one chart, one VWAP cone chart here. This is just a bell curve tilted 90 degrees on its left-hand side. It's of the NASDAQ, using the QQQ ETF. This stuff works better without the pre-market and after-hours data. So starting at 9:30, here's where we're located. We get above that pink line. We're technically in the uptrend zone for the NASDAQ, and it can help buying beget buying. Now, I don't want to be too enthusiastic about it, but here we go. Okay, we're almost at 90. I've increased my basket size to 3. I don't like the mid-channel pivot on the Spike 2.0, but I do like the triple S buy signal, the champion trend buy signal, the champion cross buy signal, wealth signal. They're all in on the 1-minute chart. But again, it's a 1-minute chart working against the existing sell signals that are, yes, weakened, but they're still sell signals on the 5-minute chart, which is a problem. And the hourly chart, even though it's in a tentative triple S buy, it's stuck under major resistance, roughly at 29,800. And you heard it up front. Look, if we can't sustain above 835, we're going to take a dive. You heard that up front in the beginning of the day, and it ended up being spot on. Did the dive break the market down? Did we get all the way down to 500? No, we got to 630s and ripped right back up. No, we came back up in an orderly manner. Remember when Ollie was saying higher lows in this area, right? He was spot on, and you saw me taking on low grade trades on the long side, pretty much there on after. But again, I can't trade this. There's nothing here for me to trade. I'm starting to see, oscillating signals leaning to the downside. Spike 2.0 is coming down. I'm glad I stayed away from the long. Shorting can become a thing, below the 1-minute chart's MSR channel, 740, 735, as we were talking about. And I am not averse to trying it below 740, 735. It'll be a quick trade, if anything. I just got in. I think I got in a little earlier than I wanted to, and I might have to pay the price for that. So my finger's on the trigger to get out. And I am paying the price for it. Are we going to get above the MSR channel center? Or are we going to slam right back down? The Spike 2.0 tool on the 1-minute chart usually makes the full move. But I'm out of the money on this trade. It's 3 micros. And I don't want to stick around if it's just going to keep hammering me. But that's, the triple S and the Spike 2.0 are signaled down right now, right? So we've got the down signal. We've got the down still there. It's not complete, obviously. I didn't put a grade on this trade, but I'd have to say that the grade on the trade would be in the B- category. But it's not working. And you know what? It's maxed out my risk on this already by double. So I got out of it. I had to take a $100 hit on that one. Okay, where's the next long? 790. Where's the next short? 735. Right? I took it a little earlier than 735. I paid the price. But if it comes back down below the bottom of the MSR channel on that 1-minute chart, the 5-minute chart backs me up, and the triple S signal up has gone away, right? 745 is the bottom of the hourly chart MSR channel. So I'm getting ready for another short. And for the long, I'd want to see it somewhere in the 80s, 90s. I don't want to take it just above the MSR channel top here. It's too much congestion. But I'm starting to see a turn here that can actually be valid for up. So I don't want to mess around with that. If it starts to plummet and we see a breach back down below 735, I'll try to catch the short below 735. Otherwise, I'll be waiting for ideally an orderly rise to 90 or 90.95, and then on the breach of 90.95, I'll take on a long. And the ES is working against the NQ, right? They're now currently on the same 1 minute bar. They're starting to work a little bit better together, but it has been working against it. So I hope folks, are not over trading it. You're seeing me take some bullets. You don't have to be part of that group, right? You can wait. Okay, 38. We came down and tagged 35, but ripped right back up above it. My finger's on the trigger to hit the short button. If we come back down below 35, 5 minute chart is what I'm trading, and I see something incrementally bearish happen on the 1 minute chart, it can act as the trigger. The 5 minute chart signal is a sell. It's not as strong a sell anymore. And I'm not seeing anything incrementally bearish, so I'm backing away so I don't misfire. And a good educational moment is the desire to have something happen versus the desire to be objectively able to see what it is happening. They conflict with each other. They pull on each other inside our minds, inside our psyches. The latter is the more important. I desire to be as objective as possible so I can actually see what's there and maybe make something out of it. If I want something to happen so badly, that's the itch, right? And it's not going to work out when you scratch the itch more often than not. At least that's been my experience. Exactly, Dan. Right? And, one of the things that of course leaves this emotional dissonance with one, or emotional a desire for a certain outcome with one, is what has happened recently. We've had enough time for the market to cool off after the August 3rd, 4th, 5th moves, right? So it's not as if we're in the market that's rampaging up anymore, where everything's following through, where every breakout trade works. No, we're not in that market, and we don't have that, that residue, necessarily, tugging at us. But the desire to actually make profitable trades is obviously still baseline. It's there. All I'm saying is that if one is able to distinguish between their desire for what they want versus what they need, which is, I need to see what is actually happening and be reasonable about where I can take a trade. And that's why I continuously repeat, hey, if I want to go long, I'd like an orderly rise up to 790-ish. I probably want to go long above 790. But we're in a sell signal state on a 5 minute chart, albeit a weakened sell signal state, but it is. If the 1 minute chart does something incrementally bearish, I could use that as a trigger to take on the existing sell signal on the 5 minute chart. And both options are on the table. So another version of duality, right? Okay, we're coming back down. We're not yet below 735, so nothing to do. Oscillating signals. The triple S indicator on the ES is in a bearish situation, and I've got the double red dots, and we're coming down below the MSR channel. So we may end up getting a short here. My finger's on the trigger. Button's depressed. I'm not unclenching it. It'll be a B- grade trade if I take the short below 735. And exactly, Mario, we are in the center. We can see it off the 5 minute chart right on screen, right? In terms of that range. So is the retrace going to be back up to the top of the range or come back down? We've obviously come back up off the low. We're halfway there. Typically when you're halfway back or halfway there on a market, you're not living on a prayer. You actually can see it continue. But this is a very stressed and challenged situation, clearly. For ES traders, not a whole bunch has happened, right? We're still in a spot where we've got not that great signaling for up. It's a 1 hour chart sell that we're still on. We're in the MSR channel. 5 minute charts in a sell. PTC pattern is on the sell side, as of this bar right there, the 10:20 a.m. bar. We had one bar with the double red dots closing below the signal bar and below the MSR channel. Right? That is a short. But it's not just unraveling. Macro factors are more supportive to up. No matter what we still say, it's still the case. It's not immensely supportive, but it's still there. And exactly, Rich, if we're in that sideways range, okay, and it's all messy and choppy like it is, avoid. But again, below 735, I'm not averse to shorting this. Right? We clearly are halfway back. Can we actually carry forward the job here? Above, at this stage, above 770 even, the insight would be we're probably going to go up. And we're getting very close to 770 right now. Above 790, we are very likely, the odds go up even greater, that we are going to go up and continue onwards. Wow, things have slowed down to a crawl. The range has gotten even smaller. So typically after a little pause and when you get a pinch in the volatility, then it starts to expand very quickly. And look, 5 minute charts and a sell signal, hourly charts and a sell signal on the surface of price, despite whatever the macro factors are, to short, that door has to open though. If we're going to retrace back up to the top, I need to see action that's orderly, that gets me back up to 790. And then I want to go long above 790, up to 835, and then again above 835. That would be the idea on the surface at least. And on the ES, that's correct, right? The ES MSR channel is supporting up. Fuad, you're right. And there are going to be moments like this, folks, where we're very indecisive. It's the market that is in wait, right? So, over trading it, not a great idea. Waiting for a clean breakout, clean breakdown, better idea. Okay, we're breaching the 775-ish area again. Let's see if this amounts to anything. ES on a 1 minute chart's getting into a buy signal. Interesting. Okay. That's new. 780, getting close to my line. Could this be the beginning of an orderly rise to break the canopy here and take us up? Or could it just be a bunch of hurry up and wait, which it seemingly is? Now, when you're stuck in a time like this, the alternative thing to do is, of course, look for another asset class that's moving that makes more sense, to spend time on. Now, my primary focus is trading the ES and the NQ, so I don't flip around to other asset classes as frequently. I'm not going to take my focus completely away from here, but I am trying to get up on screen some other things. Looks like as soon as I want to do that, we're coming back down. And like I said, if the short wants to be there, it's below 735. We're at 745. Fingers on the trigger, buttons depressed. Waiting to see if execution is viable. And so far, no. I'm still holding down the button. I haven't unclenched it. Willing to work with this if the short wants to come into force below 735. Could get a drop that takes a sub 700. There's 743, 40, 39. It's hanging around 7. Okay, 38, 37. Back up to 40. And backing away, which is the story of the day. Let's go take a look quickly at crude. That's what I'm going to do right now. It's at 82.28, which is somewhat problematic. Uptrend is still broken. 82.75 starts to become a real problem for CLU, September contract. It's not above there, but it is come up above a volume profile node, right? The epicenter of that node was 82.05. It's about a quarter above there or so. So that is problematic. That can be a negative for the market. It can be holding things back. It too is not extraordinarily tradable. What about gold, silver right now? No, neither are extraordinarily tradable at this moment either. So you can take a look at those charts. There's no trend whatsoever, right? It is flat line, sideways. Gold, sideways, not interested. So I'm going to stick with the equity indices, obviously, but I'm not going to take any trades. And you're right, Donna, it did, right? The tick tool actually was in a good enough spot. And it did look like it was, helping out in terms of Russell performance, and it did look fairly good. But right now we've got the, oscillative signal fest. It's signal stock, if you will, i.e. Woodstock signal stock is what we're dealing with here. Everyone's band is on stage playing, but it doesn't look like the overall group is extraordinarily happy. They're just biding time, waiting for the main event, waiting for the headliners to come in. Now we got pretty darn close right here, right? We did blip down to about the 735 for a moment, and then it just ripped right back up. Is it worthwhile trying to trade the range? It's not my thing. So, I'll just genuinely say I just don't like trading that. And gold could shoot up soon, right? It very well could, Marquez. We'll see. So Kenti, the 8 a.m. hour tends to be interesting because there's usually data between 8 a.m. and 9 a.m., 8:30 a.m. So that usually is an interesting moment. 4 a.m. is also 3:30 to 4 a.m. is also an interesting moment if I happen to be awake, which I was not this morning. The evening before the Eastern markets open up, somewhere between 9 and 10 p.m. is interesting. I'm speaking Eastern time, of course. Well, we've just got a whole big nothing burger of a market after the rip back up. It's going to break one way or the other, likely. It's very doubtful that we're going to stay between 29,800 and 29,700 on the NQ for the rest of the day. It's very doubtful that that's going to be the case. So the question is, are you prepared to take the move when the market brings it to you one way or the other? And look, if it's a breakout above 800, that would be what I would favor, because it makes more sense with the macro and how everything's set up. But I'm not going to be averse to the break below 700 and a move down to 29.5. Exactly, Matt. It might very well be. Mark, you did well on gold. That's amazing, man. I'm happy to hear that. Let's go see what gold's doing right now. It's got a decent last 5 minute bar, and it is trying to retrace back up towards 44.60-ish. It broke the very discrete uptrend though, right? Just like oil did. From 4 a.m. or 3:50 a.m. onwards, that trend line broke. So it's coming up to test the underbelly of that trend. So be a little careful, right? So this is what I'm seeing right here. So I can add a little value to your trading life maybe here. Right? The underbelly of that trend line is probably what it's going to face as resistance. And that's close to 44.60-ish. So there's still some game to go. Interesting. And Mark C, yeah, the coupon code ZIAD will work for FFF. Absolutely, prop. Absolutely. So for those who want to use it, it's very straightforward. Just go to, I'll just put it in the chat. It should work lickety split. So I'm still not seeing anything here that's desirous of a execution. Below 735, I will consider the short again, and it might be coming to a theater near you right now. So I want to get ready for it in the case that it does decide to play out. Okay, here we go down. Let's see if we can get down to 735 and breach it. And remember, below 745, we're below the hourly charts MSR channel. So it gives me permission for the short. So short is then in an aligned 5 minute, 1 hour sell signal state. And it would have to be, in this case, on a 1 minute too. It would naturally be, but we've seen this movie so many times and it's very painful to watch it just oscillate. So sure, here you go. For those who are getting their FFF accounts all beefed up, you can simply go to the, let me just make sure I've got this set up right so I don't fumble the ball here. Yeah, I've got it. Okay. So effectively you go over here to the FFF, fundedfuturesfamily.com site. You can set up an account if you haven't already. Log into your existing account. When you're in there, you go to the Get Funded button and then evaluate the accounts, right? Look at what they have available, right? I kind of feature the Velocity 25K plan. It's their cheapest account, $79 a month, but you're not paying the $79 a month. If you select that and you hit the Get Funded Now button, it'll add it to your cart. You just click on your cart. And when you're in your cart, you can apply that coupon code, which is my first name, and it will take the costs down on an absolute basis and on a revolve basis if you're going to keep the account to $15.80. So it's a stellar deal. Okay, here we go. Let's see if we can break 35 and maybe I can get a trade out. Seems like the morning sessions have become a little blasé over the last couple of days, but that's okay, right? It's not every day is going to be an incredible trading moment, right? Not every single day has to be. So take it in stride. And Vivian, it's hard for me to, just flip the script and do that. Eventually, we can get to that place where it's more organic, where just a mass, notification is sent out on wealth charts to go, okay, Z's here now, join, right? So in the future, that may very well be an option. Let's get Julian his driver's license first. How about that? I hopefully it'll happen before then. But what I can do very clearly is, make it super ultra clear. Above 29,835, I want to be long. Below 29,700, I want to be short. Down to 29,500 or lower. Above 29,835, I've got a 100-point range to the next barrier. It's the champion trend sell zone trail line on the hourly chart for the NQ. It's still there. It's at 933, 934. So above 835, there's a 100-point range. And then above 935, the throttle opens up. And they can be a little bit more of a run. And on a drop below 700, 500 is the area that it's going to go seek. But could there be more? It would require evaluation. So I'm not going to say yes or no. It's possible, of course. Okay, it's trying to get hammered down again. We're at 1042. The market has done an incredible amount of nothing for the last 30 minutes or so. Into the end of the hour, there should be some directionality, and there might be a trade that can come with it. Just avoid the, oh my God, I have not been able to take a trade and I'm just going to jump into one. That mode usually resolves in bad things. Oh, Bart, for 40 years. For most folks that know me, know how old I am. Otherwise, folks tend to guess. And okay, here we go. Let's see. We got close to it. We certainly did. I think we tagged 35, and then it just ripped back up. Market's net short from cash hours open. So the skew is to short. Volume that comes off the tape at the end of the hour needs to see progress on the short to keep holding it. Fingers on the trigger, buttons depressed. I haven't unclenched it, waiting for the breach of 735. And it's getting there. And no. And okay, we're at 35, just breach it. And then I'm going to try the entry. I should be in. It went profit positive right away. You saw that dip, but it ripped right back up. But the fact that it went profit positive right away is allowing me to stay, but clearly it's not interested in just breaking down. The door is open. Double red dots are there. We're still in a chop fest. It's a tougher morning, folks. I'm going to bug out if we come up above the speed lines. I'm out. I don't want to be part of this chop fest. So message again now is, you want a short? Okay. Below 735? Maybe not as much anymore. Below 720, 715? Maybe. I can try it again below 735 on a small with less size for sure if I want to, but again, nothing great here. Well, Sleepy Trader, that's a pretty good win ratio. Hey, thanks for that. Appreciate that, Sleepy Trader. And if you look at the ES and the NQ, they're both flatlining. They've neither nor has given us anything great to wrap our arms around. Maybe I'll try an ES trade. If things start to turn up, shorts should cover. Market's skewed net short. Tentative buy signals coming into play on the ES. 83 is a number of importance. But again, I feel like I'm forcing a trade here. At the end of the day, I'm not really seeing anything that's very desirous. You come up above 85, sure. You get above the speed lines on the hourly chart, nearing the breach of the top of the MSR channel on the 5-minute chart. That could become interesting. Again, we've seen this movie over and over. It comes right up to the threshold and then turns back down. Comes right down to the floor and it's going to break and it comes right back up. There's going to be better trading pastures. This is not a great trading market. Okay, now into the end of the hour, I'll stand by the comment. There should be some directionality because, we do have some stuff that has to come off the table. So David L, refresh your platform. It should be there for you, right? You should have access to wealth charts, of course, without a question. That's the David L. And please let me know how that works out for you. And Mark S, are you still on your gold? We're at 54 roughly, 44.54. So it's still grinding up to the underbelly of that trend. And what am I seeing right now? I'm seeing back up we're going. Okay. Can we actually see more shorts cover because of the mere fact that the market's skewed net short and volume has to come off the tape and we're not falling apart? So they'll cover more, perhaps. I've already let you know where I'm going to take my long on. We'll see. You're taking parts? My style. I'm happy to hear that. That's good, Mark. That's good. Oh, Jack Tripper, you're reminding me of that. That's hilarious, Evad. Those are some golden oldies. Jack Tripper, Three's a Company. What are the other characters' names? One was Janet, I remember. I think it was Janet. And the other one, I can't remember her name. But oh my goodness. Chrissy. Thanks, Joseph. Oh my goodness. Weren't the 80s amazing? Effectively, I was a child of the 80s. Okay, here we grow. Can we go above 90? Can I take on a long of any form here? I'm waiting patiently to see if I can get that pop above. I might take it right above the negative momentum shift at 85-ish. Or just wait it out till about 92, 93. Because we've seen this movie over and over and over. Oh, Mr. Roper, I remember that. Oh my goodness, the memories. Who is that? The little the hustler guy, Larry or something like that. Maybe it was Larry. I can't remember. But those are some fun characters. Yeah, you know it. Okay. Exactly, man. Damn it, Janet. I remember. Oh, who I miss is Robin Williams. He made me laugh so much when I was growing up. From Nanu to, everything that he did, even some of like the serious movies that he did. He was a bright light. And who was the other guy in Saturday Night Live that he was just an incredible talent as well? Not Jim Carrey, obviously, but Phil Hartman. I remember him well too. There's so many characters. We're reminiscing about the characters of the 80s and 90s. Chris Farley, Beverly Hills Ninja, I remember that one. Julian liked that one too. Awakening was pretty great. It was a great movie. Awakenings or Awakening. Okay, here we go. Let's see. Can we get a move now, taking us up into the end of the hour? Because, okay, I'm going to try it. Okay, what just happened? Oh, looks like my mouse just went dead. Well, perfect timing, isn't that? I literally am taking my mouse battery out and putting a new one in. Hopeful that everything works here. Yep. And did I hit the button? Now, if that's not an omen from the universe, I don't know what is. Because as soon as I clicked the buy button, my mouse went dead. I just put a new battery in. But I still think I'm going to take the trade. I've been waiting to see if I can get something off on here. So I'm in. I'm just going to do a one contract long. I'll try to build it if we can pop up further. But I would have to say the battery dying at the exact moment that I hit the buy button may be an omen. So if there is such a thing, it looks like it's working. Okay, so we're getting some upward directionality. Can I build the trade here and trade it up to 835? If we pull back close to my entry, I don't suspect we just submerge. And I think I'm going to try to add to it. So I'm doing that right now. But again, not a stellar set of trading opportunities in this cash hours morning overall. Right, one move down, a very misbehaved retrace back up, very late stage at the end of the hour, attempt to see these bearish positions from the skewed, short positioning the market has come off the tape, and perhaps get a little rip up into the end of the hour, but don't hold your breath. Right? And if this thing does not want to work out here, I'm just going to get out of the way and trade another time of the day. Right? It may end up being better during our 11 to 11:30 segment, right? We'll see. So far, it's not doing anything great. I don't like what I'm seeing, and the story is not over yet. We're still coming down to the speed lines, but this is not great, right? And we just hit the slow speed line. Negative divergence is getting locked in. If we can rip up right here and get back above 790, I'll keep the trade. Okay, I'll keep the trade. But I need to see this thing grow. And no thanks. I'm out. I give in to the desire to take the trade. It was still viable, right? We were getting above the top. We were not closed on a 5-minute bar above the MSR channel top. We're in a tentative buy on the hourly chart, and it can still work out. And I might still want to try it, but I'm going to have to wait now for the high to be breached if I want to get back in. And it has a chance to happen. Just be careful into the last bits of the hour here, right? We've been rising more or so through that little window where you can analyze and try to predict the movement into the end of the hour. And if the market is set up more short, and we were rising during that 10:47 to 10:53 a.m. window, which we were, it sets up a rise into the end of the hour more likely. Okay, so here's the highs coming in. I'm trying another entry. See if we can follow through higher. I'm doing it with a micro because I have very low confidence in the overall market move and the momentum follow through, which has been evidenced, right, by what we've seen all morning. Good news is that the ES is also trying to cooperate in the same sort of movement here, right? It's in the same sort of move. We do have oscillating signals. We are trying to rise. We're almost above the top of the 5-minute chart MSR channel on the ES, which is good. But this is not a great trading opportunity. And yeah, Kemi, that is the case. If that was your question, Rob's ITP and TRP would not be included in the full supercharge, but there are supercharged versions without them, right? So go to the SSS Resource Center and find the one that has the Wealth Chart member exclusive tools, right? And that has the a Champion Trend Pack and has the SSS, right? That would be the version of the supercharged layout to utilize. See if I can bring it up on screen here. Yeah, I found it. So, at the bottom of the resource center, of course, you're going to have a bunch of the layout codes, right? The ones that have the ITP, TRP, those are add-ons. But here on up will work without any problems, right? They'll work without any problems. Now, I have to manage this trade that's not going very well or going anywhere, really. Let's see if it's going anywhere. And it's still struggling. It's still struggling. Is it worthwhile to even remain in is a question. I think that we should be rising into the last minute or two of this hour. But again, I don't see this as a great grand trading opportunity. So, save your dry powder for better pastures, trading pastures. That would be for sure, without any question at this stage. So folks, challenging morning brought to you by a market that's been very choppy. I'm hopeful that, you didn't overtrade it, didn't get yourself into trouble. You heard me and Ernest try to talk you through it and trade through it as well, but this is just not a market that is deserving of a lot of capital being thrown at it for directional discretionary traders. This is a market where one wants to probably step aside from and say, okay, we're waiting. As Joseph, you were saying in the chat earlier, right? We're waiting for, it looks like the market's waiting for news. Probably it's waiting for Trump to say something, very likely, and then waiting for the inflation data that comes out tomorrow, that can become even more impactful for directionality in this market. So let's just take a quick roundup of the market move here together. I'm just going to bring in a few things on screen to help us understand where things are at, and continue to still profit positive on the day, but like $300 because the repetitive range bound trades did not work out for me. So I've got to make up a little ground there. But again, there might be better times during the day to do so. So let's just take this back up to the big picture level here. Just want to take a look at a few things in terms of where things are moving. Euro is not gone anywhere. It's still unch to start off. That's where we started off cash hours. So it hasn't really gone anywhere. Is the CAD getting a lot stronger? Not really. It's taken out. It hasn't really even taken out a pivot level. So nothing to look at there. S&Ps are still in the uppermost quadrant of that long-term channel. And if we don't start performing, this is the performer plunge quadrant. But again, on the ES front, we're holding above that waterline, 77.66. Has it changed? Let's see if it's changed. It looks like it has changed. Yep, it's at 76 now. So that waterline is a volume profile, volume point of control from August the 3rd start of future session. So it was the evening of the 2nd onwards, to now. And that volume point of control is now at 77.76. So that's the waterline now. If the ES cannot sustain above that waterline, the risk is for us to come down to our line in the sand for the week, which is at 77.60, and potentially breach it and go lower. The next stop lower would be 77.32. And then there's a bit of a vacuum here, right, where things can get ugly. But again, not my expected outcome. You heard it in the videos in the morning. You heard it in the morning right here live. That's not my expected outcome. It is a potential outcome, but it's not my expected outcome. I'm looking for a rise that can take us back up to above the highs from August the 5th. Now, the ES at this moment in time is up a whopping 0.1% versus yesterday's close. What about the NASDAQ? So at this moment, we're below that water line. So there's two water lines for the NQ, but it looks like the water line has changed just like it did for the ES. It's no longer 835. It's just rounded to 875. So 875 is the number now that we need to get above to open up upside. Right? And we're struggling to just get back up to the, which is where the session highs are roughly. So 875 is the more important number now. And the inflection zone still resides in and around 700. It's more so now. Yeah, it's at 690. It's pretty much in the same spot. Coming back down to 690 and through it again would be bearish. It would open the door for us to come down to roughly the low 500s. So from a tactical standpoint, to make trading decisions, okay, you can elect to try and trade the grind up to 875. You can wait to see if it's able to get above that ceiling and then trade it long, more so above 875, to yesterday's intra-session highs or higher. And of course, use the technical tools along the ride. You could elect to play the short side more so below, I'd say really starting in the low 700s, 720, 715, and certainly below 700, certainly below 690. The shorts can come back on and we can look for a move that takes us down towards the lower 29,500s. The gloves come off below there. So if we're going to breach the 500 area, it should be a fairly fast drop. You can kind of get a sense of that from a lack of, number of contracts trading here, right? There's a vacuum in this green candle is the whole point. And we could get whooshed right down to, the base of that candle or into its lower quartile if we break 500. But right now I don't think that that's the likeliest outcome. I'm not getting a headwind from the euro declining. I'm not getting a tailwind from it, increasing. I've got precious metals still holding up. Not incredible stuff happening, but still holding up. There's gold. The incredible stuff happened last week, and we called out that move last week. Gold is off its highs, but it's still positive of the day. And the note that I made in my videos earlier in the morning was 44.36, right? Below 44.36, watch your back. On silver, let's go take a quick look-see at that. It's effectively unchanged versus yesterday. Below 65 bucks at a quarter, watch your back. Now we're kind of toggling in around that area. We can have a little pullback that takes us to, the launch base from yesterday. But this is a breakout, right? The expectations is it's likely going to continue. The euro broke out to the upside last week, right? And the week before that, actually, to give us the clue that we were going to see precious metals move last week. And the euro's not retracing all of that. It's still there. That breakout still happened. This is consolidate to continue. It's an atypical bull flag where the flag is tilted upwards. So I don't see something here yet that says, the macro is turning sour and it's going downhill. I don't see that yet. Oh, good morning, son. I'll see if I can convince him to come on camera and give us a diagnostic of direction in just a bit. Oil broke the uptrend that it was in, and it's dangerously come back up to a danger line, 82.75. It's not above it as of yet, though. So the overall picture that I'm seeing over here is a market that is in wait for a continuation higher. That's the overall picture that I'm seeing. It's the same sort of picture that I saw to start off the day. Oil is obviously adding some consternation to that outlook, but it's not eliminated that outlook. So we'll leave it right there. We'll take a quick break here for about 5 minutes or so, and then I can come back on and answer some questions. So let's take a quick pause, and I'll come right back on shortly after that quick pause, about 5 minutes or so. And have your questions ready. It'll be my pleasure to answer your questions. We'll go till about just close to 11:30 a.m. Eastern time, and then we'll pause for the day. But I wanted to make sure that you had the goods in terms of the key locations and the sentiment, for the market move overall. From what I'm seeing on screen right now, we never followed through to the upside. We're coming down to an area where it can start to become shortable again, but let it play itself out. Let it actually come down and break 730, 735, 720. That would be what I want to do and want to see before I engage with the trade. So I'm just going to put a banner up on the screen letting you know that I'll be back here shortly. We'll take a quick 5-minute pause or so, and I'll be back at 11:11 a.m. Eastern time, and we'll continue the conversation from there. Hang tight, folks. Hope you're keeping well and not over trading the moves. Stay tuned. I'll be back here very shortly. All right, folks, I am back here with you. I hope everything is going well on your end. We had a little dip, did not follow through. We got down to the 700 marker. There might be another shorting moment coming into play. And I wouldn't call it a big down, Naveed, that we've had here. But we have seen, the up that happened in oil could be adding stress to it. But the movements are so shallow in range. We're not seeing anything of great significance at this moment. So let's bring the ES up here. We did get the PTC pattern. We are in a short signaled state on a 5-minute chart, on a 1-minute chart, 5-minute chart, 1-hour chart. We're coming down below the 77.76 line, which is a danger line for the ES, and it can promote more selling. The NQ is also in a similar spot. It's come down to the lower 700s. We are in a sell signal state on a 5-minute chart, 1-minute chart, 1-hour chart, and that selling can continue over here. But I'm not really seeing yet, anything of too much significance. If one wants to try shorting below 710, it can be viable. I'm going to, tell you that I'd like to try one, but I need to see a little more progress. I tried scalping a little bit during the break. Nothing too successful. Right now, I'm in a little short on the NQ, one contract, but it's not doing anything great. I'm probably going to get out of the way, but I'll pop it up on screen and manage it at least here. Not seeing anything great here, and I'm getting out of it. Right, like I'm just not seeing great follow through. There was a little dip, yeah. It just happened to be when we were gone for a few minutes from 750, 760 down to about the 700 marker. Now it's building a base. We've got an absence of breakout forecasters, and it's threatening, a counter trend bounce back up. Still not a big enough range of movement overall to be really excited about the move. If one wants to be in a directional trade, again, below 700, it makes more sense to be on the short side. For those who are actively trading this, I'm going to just bring my ES chart back up on screen over here for you and see if I can take an ES trade. If we get a little bit more erosion, I am below 77.76, which is a important water line, and we're below it. If we come down below the low of the current few bars here, I'm going to take a short on. So I'm going to try it. So I'm in. It went profit positive right away. But let's see if it can sustain, right? We could be in the beginning of an oversold bounce in a very short-term time frame. So I'm not going to let it get away from me over here. But I wanted to come in and see if there's any tradability here. I'll try to take a trade because we have not had a whole bunch of tradability in this market morning. But again, not an incredible environment overall. So I'm not seeing it be very effective. I've been in the trade for 30 seconds. If we come back up above the speed lines, I'll be in a lost position. So I'm going to get my finger on the trigger to get out. And if we spend any more time above that fast speed line, which the blue line is just under, I'm going to have to get out of the way. If we get a nice little drop, great. We could be headed down towards 77.66 to 61. And there is more pressure to the downside. We are below the MSR channel bottom on the hourly chart, as you can see there. We are in a sell signal state on a 5-minute chart. We did have the pre-trade conditioning pattern go live on the 1-minute chart. We've had a good chunk of that move already. My trade's slightly profit positive, but we're not dealing with any big numbers here. It's one contract of the ES. And at this stage, I'm just waiting to see if we get a little breach and a little rip lower, but don't expect the whole bunch. The NQ actually is coming up. That's why I closed the trade. Watch this. The NQ is trying to come back up. Now, if it comes down and breaches 700, there could be a trade there, but look at what's happening here, right? Where it's trying to get picked back up off the floor, and the floor being the 700 marker. So I can continue to try to trade this. It's just not a great range to trade overall. So the way that I would operate here is very simply, less frequency of trading decisions, more, more patience, and probably wait for clean directional breaks. And it is at an area where it can break. And, I'm not averse to trying it because I've been waiting to try some trades. I had a scratch on my ES trade that I just tried there. Might have lost a tick or made a tick, but nothing great. If we come down below 700, I'm going to try to enter one NQ short because this could be a resumption, but this can also be the area where it rips up. We spent a lot of time with the slow spike below the bottom of the Spike 2.0 channel, and the triple S line is dancing around the center of its channel. It's not directly down, so not ideal. I'll bring back the ES chart here on screen for you as well. And we are seeing some progress there, right? It has come down into the 60s. So that trade idea was correct. My execution was deplorable. So I have to live with that. But the insight was, hey, we're in the PTC pattern. It is coming down. Those that are trying to execute the short on the ES, great. And, Tim P, that's a good point, right? The size and market cap of those particular stocks that released earnings is not consequential to the overall macro move, right? It can add a little residue and negative sentiment, sure, but it's not of major consequence size-wise, right? We're past peak market cap earnings for Q2 for 2026. It's done, right? We still have Nvidia to go, but otherwise, we've crossed that threshold. So for now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to say, hey, the floor is open for some questions, and you're more than welcome to throw questions in. Yeah, a little bit, Mark S. Not a whole bunch. Number patterns and prime patterns are interesting things overall. The question of the observer versus the actual structure for mathematical measurements of all sorts is an interesting conundrum, and I'm definitely a fan of I'm an armchair physics fan, armchair cosmology fan, not astrology, cosmology, and Carl Sagan kicked the whole thing off for me. Just incredible eye-opening statements. And I was lucky enough when I was younger to have a father that just forced me to read. There's a new book every day brought into the house. And a lot of them had to do with planetary science and physics and stuff like that. And it just was, how could you not be curious when there's an entire ocean on a moon, orbiting Jupiter, Europa, and it's got liquid water, and we've seen things like that, and it's just the vast expanse of the universe is just a very fascinating thing to me overall. I think it is to everyone at the end of the day. And what did Carl Sagan always say? Keep looking up. And Neil deGrasse Tyson took the baton from Sagan in many ways, right? By redoing Cosmos, which was he did it really well. Exactly, Bart. And Dirk, that's a great question. Okay, so that's the way we can bring the session to a close. We can answer the question of, what indicators constitute an A grade or a B grade trade? It's not just the indications, it's the time frame and alignment on the time frames. So whatever indicative toolkit you're using, on the surface of price, if you're day trading, you're looking for the hourly chart on the surface signal and the 5-minute chart to be aligned. So are we in a sell signal on the hourly chart? Yes, triple S sell. This what's on screen right now is a triple S toolkit, right? So it's in a sell signal state. It went into a sell signal state on the 9 a.m. Eastern time hourly bar. It's still in a sell signal state. Yeah, we're coming down to the bottom of the MSR channel. We have to breach it. We've already breached it. Breaking it would become eventful. We are in a sell signal state on a 5-minute chart on the ES. The alignment there removes us from grade C. So we're in the grade B- to A+. Then we've got to look at where we are in the selling sequence on that 5-minute chart. Is it just beginning? Right? Is it just beginning on the 1-hour chart? Is it just beginning? Are we in a resumption opportunity? I'd say right now, based on where we are, we've already had one sequence, and there's a resumption opportunity that can firm up the sell signal, which is very young still on the 1-hour chart. And that to me puts it above a B-, probably B to B+ on the sell side. Now, if I then want to graduate up to a B+ or an A-, I'm going to look at the 4-hour chart. I'm going to go, am I in a sell signal state there? No. Okay, full stop. So I'm in the B grade category right now. I'm not in the C category because I've got alignment on the short direction between the 1-hour and the 5-minute chart. And that gets me out of C grade trading. Okay. If I wanted to get into A grade trading here, I'd want to know that I'm seeing on the chart, the 4-hour chart, be in a sell signal state. It's not in a sell signal state, but it's below the speed lines, and it's in an overcooked, very mature buy signal. So if I see something incrementally bearish happen on the technical toolkit here by way of the triple S line coming down below that fast momentum line, I can then say, okay, maybe we're at a B+ grade to A- grade. I might not have the official sell signal here, but I'd have something incrementally bearish happening. And I'd be amenable to that if the daily chart was already in a sell, which it's not. So I'm going to be stuck probably at most with a B+ grade short, which is still better than C grade trading, right? I'm still going to be stuck with a B+ grade short, and it's a resumption short that could take place, and we're seeing that resumption opportunity, start to form as we speak. Mario, I see you've got questions here. First, FFF, it's not a get one, it's not a BOGO, it's just a discounted offer. And let me just see. So the offer that you'll get when you're using my coupon code, the ZIAD coupon code, is I think 80 or 90% off. And then your next question is, will it change for 2? Second question, one account is at 50 consistency, a little above the velocity 25. Okay, okay. So there's a number of trading days that you have to pass. So you'll have to manage the number of trading days that you trade, as you're moving through your eval, and then it becomes a little more stringent on the actual funded account itself, right? So all I can say is watch the rules there, and that deal was during the Wealth 365 Summit, where they had that super hot deal, which was a BOGO. Now, if I can work it out so that I can bring that back temporarily with the ZIAD coupon code, I'll let you know. I'll let you know in advance, okay? And 3 days minimum of activity, Jimmy is saying, to confirm. Yeah. So don't look at the health of the account meter on the first day that you trade the account and go, oh, it's bad. You need at least a few days of trading there, right? And then off you go. And depending upon the performance of the account, obviously the yardstick will change a little bit. But I think on the evaluation side, it's at a consistent number. So certainly read the rules and work it that way. So folks, we saw there was not a lot to conquer in this market morning. But I'm hopeful that the insight to you has been consistent and clear. And I'm going to round it out with that, to end the session over here, where I'm simply going to say, hey, I think the macro factors are still more supportive to this market trying to struggle bust its way up. My outlook was that we're going to see the ES try to come up to the top of that long-term channel. Now that's quite a ways away. It's 100 points higher than where we are right now. It does not look like the likely outcome today, but it is Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday where we get data this week that is of consequence. CPI data tomorrow morning at 8:30, PPI data on Thursday morning at 8:30. And we, of course, get the core, retail sales data on Friday to see what consumption is doing. And then we get the CFTC's positioning of net speculative positions later in the day on Friday, which should show more open interest on gold and silver, reinforcing the idea of that gold and silver trend to continue in the week after this one. But we'll discuss that, of course, on Friday. For now, the major levels that I want to make sure that you're aware of on the ES, 77.76 or higher, the door is open for a rise. Below 77.76, there is risk down to 77.32. Below 77.32, the gloves are off, and we can see a significant retrace of the August 4th bar down to its lower third of its overall range. If we could get back up above 77.76, where are we headed to? Back to the August 5th highs or higher. Is today the day that it's going to get going? Clearly, so far, it has not been. It's not been the day where it's also broken down. Now, for those that are using the key decision level sheet, watch your back below 77.61. That's our line in the sand for the week. Below there, it's a higher probability that we'll make it down to 77.32. Let's do the same work on the NQ here for you to make sure that that's all, I's dotted, T's crossed. The water line that we need to get above now has risen. It's not at 29,835. It's at 29,875. Above 29,875, the door remains open for a retrace back up to August 5th highs or higher. While we remain below 875, and in particular, if we continue to hammer at 700, the door is open for us to fall down to the 29,500 area. And this is the area where we should see some form of a bounce. Whether it's successful at getting the market back on its feet and getting the long pants back on, that's a different question. It'll require evaluation. Take great care below 700, 690. Things can start to come a little bit more unglued, and we are in an aligned sell signal state. As Dirk was asking earlier, what makes an A grade, B grade trade? We're not in a C grade trade. If you want to short right now, the 5-minute chart, the 1-hour chart on the ES, on the NQ are both aligned in sell signals at this stage. The 1-minute charts are also in sell signal states, but it's a slow motion move, right? So if you're expecting trap doors to open, whoosh, and big sellers to come out, this market now is at the behest of news, and we don't have any that's really good at this moment. We don't have any that's really much badder than yesterday either. So think about that. That puts you in a vice, right? There's going to be better trading posture. Just the one thing that I wish for you is not for you to get frustrated waiting, right? You can analyze, pick your spots, set an alert, okay, and let the alert, trigger you back into the move here. So I'm going to leave it right there for you. For any further questions, feel free to join me on Wealth Charts at 12 p.m. Eastern Time. But I've got to get my son ready for camp right now, and I've got 30 minutes to get that and a whole bunch done. All right, folks, I will see you tomorrow at 9:15. And hey, hope is a dirty 4-letter word in this arena in life. But if there was any hope, I hope that tomorrow we have a livelier market. I think we will, right? I think the CPI is going to come in a little warmer, and it might end up having some downside risk for the market. So we've got to be careful with that. So let's deal with that as it comes. That data breaks at 8:30 tomorrow morning, by the way. Okay. All right, folks, I got to sign out. I'll see you on the flip side. I hope you had a great time here in the market morning. And yes, of course, you can still use the ZIAD coupon code on the FFF site. All right. Bye for now, everyone. We'll see you on the flip side.